Is that a custom beat for you right there?
It is, man.
Hey.
All right, yeah, here we
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Hey, it's your boy Pastor Mike, and we are here on the 11th hour. And I got a really good friend with me, so he got the colors on, the colors of the island on. So he just moving. Hey, too cool for school, man. So. Yeah, man, I always love to get a shout out to my son Dorian for making that beat, man. He made this beat for me, so I'm super excited.
That's fresh. That's fresh.
That's nice. I could copyright that, man, and maybe put that out there somewhere,
But I might have to use it, though, before you copyright it.
Hey, man, you can use it, man. You can use it. That's what it's all about. Hey, y'all, it's your boy Pastor Mike, and we're here with the 11th hour, a.k.a. 90s number 5, where we talk about community youth and our families. And so in the 11th hour, man, we talk about different situations and how we have to make decisions in life at the last minute and how we enjoy making those decisions and how rough those decisions can be. So, and today is snowing outside. Man, what is that all about?
It got worse and worse as I was driving over here, just out of nowhere.
You know, I always tell when the weatherman say we're gonna have little to no snow, that's when we're gonna get the snowstorms.
Sun will be out. This is Tennessee. Yeah. This is Tennessee. The sun will be out in about an hour.
Oh yeah, man. It's 30. What is it, like 30-something degrees outside?
Yeah.
Maybe 60 by the time we get done.
Facts.
Hey, I'm excited to talk to my friend. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and then we're gonna get to talk about some good stuff.
All right. I'm Rondell Clark. I'm the owner of F.A.C.E Fitness Personal Training and Elite Athletic Training. I'm a father. I am a God-fearing man. I am a businessman. I'm a lot of things, and a lot of things that I grew from to become the man that I am today.
See now you done open up the door. See, I may even go away from my whole script just to get into
I'm
that.
Okay
right
with
there.
that. I told you, I like it organic.
Just to get into that, man. So you got to tell us, man. So what did you elevate from that has brought you to this point?
I guess you think of your typical, stereotypical inner city black kid, and I am that picture. I'm that textbook picture of what that kid is. Growing up in the projects, single parent home, sisters. I have 2 sisters that all have different fathers. You know, everything.
Right.
My grandmother had 9 kids, and all her kids had 4 or 5 kids,
Wow.
and their kids had several kids, and so we just continued to cycle in my family, and there came a point where I just didn't want to be that statistic. I didn't want to continue that cycle, so I had to break free, and I had to become my own man, even if it meant me moving away and doing it myself. My family's all in Asheville, North Carolina.
Okay.
And that's where I was born and raised. All the males in my family, I told you we had a huge family. All the males in my family had either been to jail or on that path to go to jail. And that's including myself. Everything from shoplifting to selling drugs. I mean, that was me. Fights, skipping school, the whole 9.
Not you, man. Come on.
It's hard to tell with the demeanor now.
Yeah, that's almost like 2 different people,
back.
man.
I'm a lot more laid back.
No, I've been knowing you for a while, man. I'm like, no, not you. That you wasn't doing all that, were you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I gave my life to Christ when I was 15 years old. I started playing basketball around that time.
Okay.
And I was really athletic. Wasn't a good basketball player, but I was really athletic. And I was working on my game a lot. The Boys and Girls Club is a huge part of my life.
Okay.
So much that I'm on the board now for the Rutherford County Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Wanting to give back and put my time in to continue that because I know what it meant to me. I would walk an hour and a half across Asheville, across town, through the whole city to get to the other side of town where the Boys and Girls Club was. That was my way of getting out of trouble and staying out of trouble. I would go up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and I would stay till about 9 p.m., and I'd walk back home. I mean, literally all day.
Wow.
If I didn't have that place, I know where I would be. I can't say, I don't know where I'd be right now. I know where I'd be.
Right.
I know where the guys are that I hung around.
Yeah.
I know my crew at the time. I know where they are. Several of them are dead. Several of them are in jail. One of them's in a wheelchair. So I know where I would be.
Wow.
People use the cliche a lot. It's by the grace of God that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did this. I just have no other way to explain it. Like, I just have no other way to explain it. Like, I know that that's what it is. It may sound cliche, but I just know that that's what it was.
So do you think that's kind of where your passion comes from with the young people, with the fitness, that, your past and what you kind of went through, that's kind of what drives you and what you do now?
Absolutely. When I started kind of getting out of trouble myself, so to speak, getting out of trouble, trying to stay out of trouble, I guess is a better way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was trying to change my own life and my own perspective on life, one of the things that I did at the Boys and Girls Club, they had what they call CITs, counseling and training. And what it was is just basically the teenagers who wanted to help out with the young kids.
Okay.
So during the summer youth programs, I was a CIT, so I got to kind of help out, and that's what I was going up so early in the morning for.
Okay.
I was very relatable to the kids. They knew me. Several of them knew my life because we lived in the same, we lived through the same things, the same struggles. So I was able to reach those kids and speak to those kids in a way that the normal counselors couldn't.
Right.
I was very similar in age. I've always been a big guy. I'm 6'4", 265 pounds.
Yeah.
So my size kind of commands a little more respect, so to speak, with those kids. So I was able to reach them in ways that the other counselors didn't.
Right.
And then as we continued me being there, I was able to get a job there as a counselor as soon as I turned 18.
Oh, okay.
So I've been working with youth, at-risk youth, since that time. And all through all through college, I did one-on-one behavior counseling with at-risk youth. While playing basketball, while taking 17 to 18 hours,
Wow.
I was still working full-time doing that.
Now, it's interesting. So, like I said, the concept of the 11th hour is, I made a decision at a time in my life where it was pretty crucial. So you did mention that you was walking back and forth to the Boys and Girls Club, and you mentioned some of the things that you were involved in. What made you stop? What made you say, this ain't working, I need to do something different?
I think one of the biggest things is I had a lot of freedom to come and go as I pleased because my mom was at the time a drug addict and an alcoholic, and that's who I lived with.
Okay.
So she didn't really tell me where to go and where to come and when to be home and this and that. I had a lot of freedom to do that. I got caught shoplifting at TJ Maxx. I was still in. I remember it was a North Carolina
Maxx.
jersey. It was a North Carolina jersey.
Well, that's a good one to get. That's a good one to get for.
So I got caught shoplifting, and I was gonna have to go to court for that. And while I was waiting to go for that, I got in trouble for breaking out car windows, and got pushed back again. My court date got pushed back, so they compiled all of that, and I ended up. I guess it was a blessing to me because I ended up only getting 3 months probation.
Okay.
At 14, 15 years old, however old I was. And I think at that time I remember thinking, like, I was very close to like somebody telling me when I can go pee, when I get up, when to get up, when to go eat, this and that.
Right.
And one of the things that I valued the most was my freedom, being able to come and go as I please, choose what I wanted to do.
Right.
I think one of the biggest differences between me and some of the guys that I hung out with is me selling drugs, me shoplifting was more survival. It wasn't me trying to be a knucklehead. It was me trying to eat. It was me trying to clothe myself. I didn't have anybody to do that stuff for me. So it was more of a survival thing. Like, this is a way that I can do it. It was never I'm trying to live this lifestyle of a thug. I didn't do a whole lot of fighting and things like that. I was just trying to survive. So that was the point for sure where I decided, man, something's got to change. And it was at that time, around that time, I'd actually really started playing basketball a lot.
Okay.
My freshman year, I got cut. And from the team. I was the only freshman who could dunk. I was super athletic.
Yeah.
Got cut from the team. And everybody went, oh, Michael Jordan got cut. I didn't care what Michael Jordan. Like, I knew how it felt for me.
Right,
and
right.
as I've gotten older, I've been able to really tap into a lot of my thought process as a kid. I do a lot of therapy. I do a lot of studying for myself on what drives me, what influences my decisions. And I know what it was is rejection. When I got cut, it was the rejection. It was the same rejection I felt from my family. It was the same rejection I felt growing up because I didn't have anybody.
Right.
So that's what it was. So I didn't even try out my sophomore year. But I still loved the game because it was giving me something to do.
Okay.
So I was still playing, no exaggeration, 7 days a week for hours.
Oh, just at the local park or something?
Parks,
Okay.
different parks. I mean, I would literally walk all over town. I knew every day of the week where they were going to be playing at. So I was going. And at the time, it was different than, like here, you have to pay money to go to Patterson Park. You have to pay money. The rec centers in Asheville were all free. If I had to pay to go to those, I wouldn't have been able to really do it. I wouldn't have been able to. So, but because they were free and all the parks are free, obviously, so I was able to really go and keep myself busy.
Right.
And it probably also mentally was phenomenal for me because I was able to keep my mind clear as well.
So when you reflect back on that, man, how do you say this was my driving force? Like, because I know as young as you were, there had to been times where you were like, I still need to go do this. Because if you was feeding yourself, surviving, how did you, when you made that switch to say, okay, it's okay for this, because that's what you was doing to do that? What was, being so young, like when you look back on that, you'd be like, this is why I did it.
If I had to guess on that or pinpoint that to really truly answer it, I would say the change, like knowing that I wanted something different for myself. I remember walking down the street one day, and I can picture it in my mind as clear as day. I remember walking down the street one day and yelling at the top of my lungs that there's no God. There can't be a God, because if there was a God, I wouldn't be living the way I'm living. And I swore that day that my kids would never feel the way I felt, and that they would, that I would never treat my own kids this way, that I would always be there for them, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm talking at the top of my lungs walking down the street by myself.
Right.
And and at that moment in my life, nobody could have told me any different as far as there being a God at all, because I know how I felt and the struggles that I was dealing with trying to raise myself, as a young teen. I was probably 13, 14 at the time. And I knew right then, like, I had to have something different for myself.
Okay.
I wanted something different for myself. I wanted something different for my family. And that thought and that feeling has never left.
And it's amazing that even at such a young age, you was already thinking about your family, your kids, that you didn't want them to go through that. And I think all of us in some way have those same types of feelings, but you took it to heart and you built such a great fitness program. So that leads me into my next question. How did you get into straight fitness? Because I know you was already athletic, you was already 6'4", but how did you get into like fitness? Like, this is what I want to do, this fitness thing.
So I was a firefighter. I kind of fell into the whole firefighter thing when I moved to Florida. I moved to Florida after college. I got offered a job as director of promotions for a semi-pro team, basketball team that I did my internship for.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, this is what I want to do anyway. So I actually skipped my senior year of college ball in order to go down and work for this team.
Now, was this a football team?
Basketball.
Basketball, okay.
So 4 years in of doing this, 3.5 years, they sold our team. And now I'm down in Florida. At this point, I met my now ex-wife, my two oldest kids. I have a 19 and a 17-year-old. I met their mom while I was there.
Okay.
And I think I was 24, 25 at the time. And we got pregnant with my daughter, my oldest. And man, like that was, I tell her all the time, like, you don't know how you saved my life.
Right.
Like, it's hard to, she gets it. She's like me. She's emotional.
Wow.
She is the splitting image of her dad.
Okay.
She can have a bad attitude at times, the good and the bad. She's
Yeah.
the splitting image of me. So, but I credit her with softening me up
Okay.
and really making me want to be a better man. And by doing that, we moved back to North Carolina because her mom was a nurse at the time and her family was all in Missouri. So we kind of came back a little closer. And at the time, I knew I would always have a job working with youth. So I went back to doing the one-on-one behavior counseling with at-risk youth. So I kind of got back into that after leaving it for college. So I got back into working with youth, and I was on different community boards there, and one of them was this program called the Gun Buyback Program. And what they did was they took a bunch of illegal guns off the street. You can turn them in, no questions asked. You could get $100 for a handgun or $50 for a rifle. They expected to get maybe 50 guns. We ended up getting like 500 off the streets. This board contained pastors, one of the chiefs from the fire department, a couple of captains from the police department. My brother, my oldest brother, my dad's kid, my dad has like 10 kids, but he's the only one that I actually claim because he's the only one that I really knew growing up.
Right, okay.
And he is a 2-time felon. He's been in jail almost as much as he's been out. But the last time that he got out, he really changed his own life. He was a hustler. He was a drug dealer, but he was a hustler. Like he was really trying to do big things in that game. So what he's done since then was converted that thought process into entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So now he owns 4 or 5 different businesses.
Wow.
He's on different community boards. He's really involved in different avenues of getting convicted felons jobs, homes, things like that.
Okay.
And I mean, he's in everything from real estate. He's a licensed chef. Like he took that hustling mentality and turned it around.
Turned it to a
yes. So
entrepreneurship. Cool.
I actually credit my brother with my drive because he's somebody that I really looked up to growing up because of his motivation. Even though it was for doing the wrong things, I could just see his drive, and the similarities was his heart. Mm-hmm. He had a huge soft heart, and so I looked up to him a lot. And so what basically ended up coming out of that was the chief of the fire department ended up asking me to join the fire department. Okay. And I just kind of laughed. Like he asked me, "Have you ever thought about being a fireman?" I was like, no, never. No. He's like, man. And then now I got my daughter. Keep in mind, and we're pregnant with my son at the time. Ooh, so it's just, so now I got 2 kids, and he tells me about the insurance, the benefits. Wait a minute. I'm like,
starting to sound a little good now.
I've never had any of this. I haven't had any of this. 401ks, and I had to learn about this stuff. Not just, I had to learn about all this. So I was able to, I ended up taking that job with the fire department, fell in love with it. And that's what I did here for 9 years as well. And Franklin, I was a fireman in Franklin for 9 years. So long story to bring that to this conclusion is that my current wife now, she was a personal trainer. She's been doing it way longer than me. So I still tell her I'm better than her, but she.
hey! I've seen your wife. Man. She rock solid. There, I don't know if you.
No, all our clients say she's way harder than I am, way tougher. So but because she was doing it, and now we're pregnant with my 9-year-old Riley. And when you're an entrepreneur, there's no maternity leave.
Right.
There's no pay when she goes out on maternity leave, any of that. So when me jokingly and a little more arrogantly, I'm like, well, I've been working out my whole life. You know, I played basketball. I can do this.
Right.
So I decided I was going to become a personal trainer too. But me being the person that I am, I took it serious. I trained. I got my certification. I went back to MTSU, got my exercise science degree.
Okay.
And I trained probably 8 or 9 people for free for like 2 months while she was still working and everything. And I'm at the fire hall and doing both. So fast forward to a couple months later, I'm like, look, guys, I'm ready to do this. Like, I'm about to do this as a business now. I ended up keeping about probably 80% of those clients that I was training for free because of the results they got. So I took the craft serious.
Yeah.
And that's the type of person that I am. So I took it serious, and I knew how to work out myself. I just needed to learn how to train other people to get them results. So it ended up me using that street mentality to really build that hustle and that grinding. So I'm getting off at the fire hall after working 24 hours at 7 o'clock. I'm training. I'm going straight to the gym to start training. And within probably 6 or 8 months, we had more clients than any of the other training companies at the MAC. Definitely within a year. So we went from my wife being her own personal trainer, like training her own business, having maybe 13 or so clients, to within a year having 70 clients.
Wow.
And as a personal trainer, if you have 13, 15 clients, you're doing perfectly fine by yourself. And at this point, you know, me really just pushing the brand, building a brand. And I told her when we got started, like, well, I don't want to just be a personal trainer at the gym. Like, if we're going to do it, we're going to build something. We're going to build something together. And that's what we ended up doing. We started F.A.C.E Fitness. F.A.C.E is an acronym for Focus and Conquer Excuses. We feel like we all have excuses of why we can't do this, why we can't do that. And we say, whatever your excuse is, you face it. So
got it.
That's where the name came from.
Okay.
So what we ended up doing was really focusing on building our own brand. We got to the point where we were able to leave the MAC at the time, Norfolk Athletic Club, and we were able to sustain our own business. And you know, and I'm punching numbers. I'm like, we got this many clients. We're making this much money. Within like 3 or 4 months, I had already almost tripled my fire hall salary. So now I got to make a decision.
Right.
Do I want to continue doing what I'm really loving doing, the benefits, everything else that comes with this, or do I want to take this leap of faith? And what we decided after praying about it a lot and really, you know, and not just pray. I think people too often decide, I'm going to pray about this and see what God says. And if he opens a door, then it's meant to be. Now, sometimes God wants you to do your work too.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
You know, we got to do our part. So it's not just like, oh, well, we want to do this. Let's just see if God brings it to us.
Right.
No, we did our part, and to make sure that, you know, it was legit that this is what we're supposed to be doing. Are we living in our purpose?
Man, because y'all have a fun family, man. Y'all do, man. I'm telling y'all have a fun family. I know my kids really enjoyed it going over there to, because you have such a great atmosphere at F.A.C.E. I mean, it's just a great atmosphere, man. When people come in, man, it's like everybody's in there together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's not like I'm working over here, you working over here, but it's almost like we're working together.
And it's crazy because I could have young athletes working over here. I can have our golden girls. We call them our group of golden girls. It's 60-plus-year-old ladies that all work out together. There's 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, that's cool.
And they nicknamed themselves the Golden Girls. So I can get away with calling them that.
All right.
You know, and then we got a group of soccer moms working over here because, you know, mid 30s, 40s. And it works.
Yeah.
You know, it works because the atmosphere, and that's the biggest thing about what we do is we try to create a family environment. And you'll be walking by, you'll be struggling on a set, like, and you'll just have some random person walk by, like, go ahead, you got it. Just keep walking.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
motivate
yeah.
each other. And
Yeah.
you know, instead of worrying about what other people are thinking at the gym, you know, you got a place where you're safe and you can come in and do what you need to do.
And taking that mentality, now I'm gonna go back to your childhood, and you talked about your family and what you wanted for your family and how you saw your family. Do y'all take fitness and push it throughout your personal family? Is that something that you make sure that your family's doing, and are they receptive to that?
So my oldest daughter, she plays volleyball in college. She played in high school, and it got to a point where me trying to push her wasn't working. Trying to, hey, you need to be in the gym, you need to do this, you need to take lessons, like if you really want, and because this is your goal. Once you tell me that this is what I want, then I'm going to push you to get that goal.
Right.
And when she tells me I want to play college ball, this is what you need to do. This is what the other kids are doing. You need to outwork them.
Right.
And no matter what your teammates are doing, you got to outwork them. And not just your teammates, because now you're competing against scholarships from people all across the nation. So you got a lot of people that you really have to outwork. So she wasn't very receptive to me training her.
Just you personally?
Just me personally.
Okay.
Because I'm dad.
Right.
She didn't know how to separate the dad hat from the trainer hat. So anytime I got onto her, like, no, you got to, keep your butt down lower. Get your butt down lower. All she hears is clean your room, make your bed. Yeah, that's all she hears.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great point.
So,
yeah.
So what I did was I started having her work with one of my other trainers.
Okay.
So we have about 8 trainers that we've hired, and I would have her work with one of the other trainers, and boom, it clicked. It clicked because now she's not hearing dad anymore.
Right.
And a lot of our kids, I hear the exact same story from a lot of the parents that come in. Exactly.
I'm one
it's like,
of them.
yeah, absolutely. And you're sitting back when I tell them something, and they're like, "Oh," and you're like, "Oh, you've never heard that before?"
Yeah.
But it's like this enlightening thing when I tell them. So
he's a guru, man. I didn't know he knew that. And I'm like, dude, I've been telling you for the last. Yeah.
And we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Man. So my son plays basketball at Seagull High School. He's a junior.
Okay.
And somewhere recently, once he decided that he wanted to be good at basketball, then it finally clicked. But for him, it had to be, I need to find my way.
Got you.
He was a baseball player before that, and he was really good. But it was natural. He didn't have to work. He had that natural athleticism that carried him. But all of a sudden, he's growing older, and now these other kids have been working. Now they're on that same level or better than him.
Right.
And now baseball's not fun anymore because he's not out there dominating like he was when he was younger. So he didn't want to play baseball. And I'm like, I don't care what you do. You got to do something. You're not coming home and playing video games all day or this and that. I don't care if you go play the piano, you go take singing lessons. Like, you're going to do something to occupy your time. You just find out what it is. He finally settled on basketball.
Okay.
And he's actually gotten a lot better. He works. I got him working with my buddy Sean Sanford from We Work Hoops. And he's probably best skill development trainer in this area for basketball, hands down in the Murfreesboro area. And he goes, I just told him, I'm paying for 6 months up front. You go as much or as little as you want. Once you tell me again, he decided he wanted to play college ball.
Yeah.
Once you tell me that, I'm going to hold you to it. If a client tells me I want to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to hold you accountable to what you said you were going to do in the moment that you said you were going to do it. Because that's when you meant it.
Right.
In that moment where you said you were going to do it. There comes a time where that feeling starts to fade a little bit.
Yeah, that 11th hour, boy.
That 11th hour.
You be like, man, them cookies sure look good over there.
But there comes my job is to hold you accountable to it.
Yeah.
So he takes that and he uses it. My two youngest ones, they grow up in the gym because they come straight to the gym after school.
That's true.
They are trainers in training.
Right.
I mean, their form on the exercise because they grown up in it.
Yeah.
So it's literally like they're doing pull-ups and everything, box jumps. And I got clients, grown-ups that can't do some of the stuff that they're doing. They're like,
Right.
what? They're walking around the gym eating salmon and asparagus. And the parents like, how are you getting them to eat that? This is what they know.
Right.
This is what they grew up doing. Yes, they still like candy. Yes, they still like junk food, but they're still asking, can we have salmon tonight? Can I have some ground turkey? Can I have a turkey burger? Whatever it is. You know, they're still asking for the healthy stuff as well. So.
Can I move my kids over to your house?
If it ain't too late for them, if it's not too late for them.
I got one now. I got one that you can probably work with.
So, yeah, so we're very much, the whole family's involved in what we're doing in every aspect. When we are moving equipment, when we're cleaning the gym, they want to be a part of it, and that's a huge blessing. That's part of that cycle that I wanted to change.
To break,
I wanted my family to do stuff together. I wanted my family to be a part of whatever we're building. So what we're building is we're building for them. And if we have to remind them that this, because they don't want to come up there and help do something, this is what's paying for all those softball lessons. This is what's paying for your car, so respect that.
Right.
Respect that, because this is what's paying for what you're doing.
Now, when you sit back late at night, I don't know if you got a rocker, if you got a big chair, I don't know what you use. I don't know if you smoke a stogie or whatever you do, but when you're just sitting back and it's just you and you just looking out the window and you just reflecting from where you were to where you are, what are you thinking?
This is going to sound boastful, but don't take it that way at all. I've got a 4,300 square foot house in a really good neighborhood. I've got 2 BMWs. My kids all have cars. They all have clothes. They all have shoes. They all have everything that they need. When I look back, I'm like, there's a part of me that feels accomplished, but there's a part of me that's still hungry because I know I have to maintain that for them. Like, I have to continue to bust my butt and do what I need to do. And even when it comes to my own personal goals. So I'm a natural professional bodybuilder.
Yes, you are.
And I compete, and my wife is as well. She's a natural professional bodybuilder. So they see us working. They see us grinding. They see us doing what we need to do to reach our goals on a daily basis. So we're instilling in them, when we're asking you to go and work on your craft, we're working on ours daily too. So it's not just, hey, you go do this and I'm sitting around like, did you get it done? We're continuing, and they see us working on our goals, and they support us, and they're our biggest cheerleaders in the stands when we're on stage and everything else, just like we are to them. We go to their games, they hear us cheering for them. It's reciprocated.
Right.
And that's huge to me. So I get to sit back, and so it's not just the possessions of, my kids being taken care of financially, but that's a huge deal to me because that wasn't done for me.
Right.
And that's what forced me to do some of the things that I was doing at the time, to try to provide for myself.
I just think about when you was telling that story into where you are today, the drive, the influences, the emotions, and all those things that you talked about. I could just imagine, man. You just, you're not being boastful. First of all, let me tell you that. But you just confident and proud of what you've done, and it took that what you talked about from your older brother, just taking that, man, and just making it your own. And so, dude, I'm telling you, man, it's awesome. It's awesome because we don't see a lot of brothers doing that. We don't see a lot of brothers doing it, and sometimes the brothers that we do see doing it, there is the boastfulness,
Mm-hmm.
all of this,
Mm-hmm.
but you just have a quiet, humble spirit about you, man. I know we've been friends for a while, and
Mm-hmm.
just every time we see each other, man, it's just like we've
It's
been
a lot of
friends.
love. Like
Yeah,
we may not even talk since 6 months,
that's
but
what
it's
I'm
like
saying. And you don't put people down. It's like you have this, and I don't know, it's because of the way you train and because of the things you've been through, but that's the vibe that I get all the time from you, my brother.
the one thing that annoys me about a lot of trainers is personal trainers and specifically is they feel like they have to talk bad about another trainer in order to make themselves look good.
Yes.
The one thing that I remember from my college coach, my college basketball coach, Coach Robinson, he told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was my high school basketball coach." He said, "You don't have to talk about yourself." He's like, if you're good, everybody else is going to talk about you. So there's no reason for you to go around bragging on yourself because everybody else is going to do it anyway. If you're
Right.
doing something right, then other people are going to talk about it. And that's one thing I take with me. I took from him. I mean, literally to this day, there's no reason for me to go around like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, because I really don't care what everybody else thinks. And I know some people say that, but I mean it.
Right.
Like
Right.
I really mean it. Like what we're doing works for us with our business. So I don't care how everybody else is building their business. I don't care what they're doing. What we do works for us. And that's what matters to me is
It
that what
does.
we're doing works for us. My lifestyle, what we're doing, my commitment to Christ, like everything, the way I do it, it works for me. If I don't like reading, so I started doing audiobooks.
Right. Okay.
So I considered reading. I read 4 books last year. That was a record for me.
As a record.
Yeah, so I'm trying to read a lot more now. That's one of the things that I'm trying to do, and it's more inspirational books. It's
Right.
I don't know if you Battle Cry. That's the one I'm on now, and I can't think of the author, but phenomenal book. Very much talking about life and how you treat your kids and how you treat your family and really how you treat others and how that's gonna come through. I want my kids to treat people well. So in order for me to do that, I have to treat people well.
Right.
So I want everything that I do, everything that my kids do, be a reflection of what I've shown them.
Right. Right. Okay. So getting back to one question, you mentioned it. You really didn't go deep on it, but I'm gonna have to go a little bit deeper. When those people come in and say, "I want to lose 30," you see the struggle, and they want to give up, and they come in and they go from 30 to 35 pounds heavier than they were. How do you handle clients who kind of give you the, "I want to do it, but I don't want to do it"? What's your method of just that push that you give them?
One of the things I try to make smaller goals. That help, and that's in life too. That's in
Right. Okay.
business. That's in fitness. That's in your own job. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're working a normal 9 to 5. Like, make smaller goals. Yes, you wanna lose 35 pounds. Let's focus on losing 2 pounds. Let's not focus on because one of the things that I've learned is that fitness is not a destination. It's a journey. Fitness is a journey. And I think people try to use it as a destination because I want to lose 35 pounds. And when I get there, another thing I tell people is the day you become obsessed with fitness is the day you're never happy with your body.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
man, I really want to get my chest. I want to build my chest up. We build your chest. But now my arms look small, so now I got to fix my arms. Ooh, my
Right.
legs. I got to get. Ooh, I got to
Yeah,
get rid of
yeah.
this dad bod.
Yeah.
It's something.
Always.
So it's gonna always be something, and that's not a bad thing. Constant improvement of yourself is not a bad thing. So,
Right.
what I try to keep people focused on is embrace the process, embrace the journey, because what you're really gonna get out of all of this is who you become in the process.
Right. Because you learn a lot through that process. So, okay, so dieting and exercise, they go hand in hand, right? Okay.
And people try to tell me like, well, which one is more important? neither. Like you
Neither.
can't have
Gotta do
one without
both.
the other. They're like, well, I heard it was 80-20. I heard it was 80% diet, 20% working out. No, it's 100% on the diet. It's 100% on the working out.
Right.
You know, and what I really try to focus on more than you losing weight is having a lifestyle change, because that's what's going to be sustainable. Let's just be disciplined and have a lifestyle change. Focus
Right.
on that as opposed. That way, it's sustainable for a long period of time. You don't want to keep losing 30 pounds over and over again.
That's true.
You
That's
know?
a great point.
And
Yeah, that's true.
that's what happens. You
Yeah.
lose 30 pounds, you gain 30 pounds or 35.
Yeah.
And now you were like, man, I really want to lose 30 more pounds. You lose 30 pounds again. You could have lost 60.
Yeah. You was in the fitness world. You're in the fitness world. Have you seen changes in our youth with fitness from where it used to be to where it is now? Because my kids are all over TikTok watching all these kids doing all these crazy exercises and, you know, doing all this crazy stuff. How have you seen the fitness switch with our kids? Good or bad?
Both.
Okay.
Changes for the good and for the bad. I think let's start with the bad. Food is getting expensive.
Yes.
You know, it's not getting expensive. Junk food.
That's true.
Junk food. And they're marketing junk food to our kids. You know, the Oreos are eye level with the kids. The chips, the cereals, they're all eye level with the kids. And they're all marketing to our kids because they know that if they want it, now mom and dad's going to get that for them. You know, because they need to eat. And if they're not going to eat these greens, they got to eat something.
Right.
So let me just at least get this for now. So the bad in the sense of obesity, childhood obesity, things like that. We're consuming too much junk. And for the good, I think kids are starting earlier. And they're getting involved in working out early. And one of the things that I see is the young athletes. It used to be people were doing extra speed and agility and strength training to get a leg up. Now you have to do it just to keep up because everybody else is doing it.
Right.
So I would say just for our young athletes in general, a lot more of them are working out and lifting weights and doing things athletically, even though we still are in the TikTok phone age and video game era. Where they're doing all that when it comes to their sports, they still have to do more to keep up. If they want to play, they got to do more. So they're more active outside of their normal sport than they ever have been before.
Especially those that are concentrated on what they want to do.
Yes, those that are goal-oriented.
All right, man. So tell me, what would you like your clients to tell people after being a part of F.A.C.E Fitness? What would you like people to say about you guys?
I found my home. I found my home. Not to keep bringing up my past, but from the time I was 10 years old, to the time I graduated high school, I lived in about 30 different places.
Wow.
No exaggeration.
Wow.
Bouncing around from different family members to family members, friends of the family. My senior year of high school alone, I lived in like 5 different places. My grandma, my uncle, one of my teammates, my mentor, a guy, Carter Pounders, who, man, what an instrument in helping me really hone in on changing my life. He was the founder of the Asheville Buncombe Youth Mission at the time, and then ended up becoming a pastor after that. But at the time, when he was the pastor of Youth Mission, the church that he worked for had a house attached to it. And I even lived at that house for a while because I got kicked out of my grandma's house. So, and I understand, I look back, I'm not salty at anybody. I wasn't their responsibility.
Right.
So if they couldn't feed me, clothe me, this and that, like, I understand. Like, this is an extra mouth. So I just kind of used what I could at the time and then go on to the next place and the next place. So what I would want people to do is to come in and realize, like, this is my place.
That's cool.
And that's what the environment that we're trying to bring across to them and to create.
And I think you've done that. I think you guys have done that. I think you have. Fast round, man. Fast round. You ready?
Let's do
These
it.
gonna be questions I'm gonna shoot at you, man. And you just kind of come from the hip on them, okay?
Right.
Now you mentioned him, so you mentioned him already. But my question was, who do you look up to for inspiration and mentorship?
God, we're gonna go fast round. I got to go straight to the source first, and then the people that he put in my life, and such as Carter Pounders, and then the people who I get to watch on a pretty consistent basis, such as yourself. I look up to people online. I love Inky Johnson.
Yeah.
I love E.T. Thomas. Several guys. Like I'm on YouTube watching videos all the time.
For inspiration.
Yes, absolutely.
You should put something out yourself, man.
Man,
Seriously, you should put something out.
I've thought Trent
You
sitting
should
over
put
there
something
like,
out, man.
we've already talked about it.
You
I
need to
told him
put
he needs
something
to
out,
come in
man.
here. I would love to do something like this, man, and bring people in and really, because I think it would help me get some of my things out, like the things that are in my head, and
Right.
and the things that I think will help other people, and it'll help. I think it'll help.
What is the most important risk you took and why? The most important risk you took and why?
It's gonna sound cliche again, but trusting God when I decided to, because I had no reason to trust Him.
Right.
I didn't know Him. I didn't grow up in the church. My mom would put us on a church bus, and then we would go to church. She'd give us a couple dollars to put in a collection plate. But there was a little gas station right around the corner. So we would, I kid you not, me and my
your
sister,
dollar went.
we look forward to church. We look forward to going Sundays because we go around the corner. We buy a couple pieces of candy, and we go sit in church and do it, and we catch the bus back home. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't escort us. She didn't take us with her. So that's the only thing I knew about church.
Right.
So for me, trusting somebody, anybody, when I was the only one my entire life who looked out for me. So being able to trust God to help me make decisions.
What is the most memorable lesson you've learned from your mentor or just life, period? The most memorable lesson you've learned?
Be disciplined.
Be disciplined.
Be disciplined and be consistent. Those two go hand in hand, being disciplined and being consistent. It works for my bodybuilding, for my business, for my family, for parenting, for being a husband, the whole nine, like discipline and consistency.
Man, I'll tell you, I know I got some stuff, but man, you got so much, man. I really need to, we really need to talk more. Okay, how do you continue to grow and develop as a man? How do you continue to grow and develop as a man?
I understand that this is a never-ending process. I've come so far, really in so little time, because my self-reflection has really started maybe, 3 or 4 years ago, and really understanding who I am and the decisions I make and things like that. So I think I still have so far to go, but I'm okay with that. And I'm ready to embrace that. So it doesn't matter. Again, I'm not worried about that destination.
Journey.
It's that journey.
It's the journey.
And I'm looking forward to becoming a better man, a better father, a better husband, the whole nine. And I look forward to that daily.
That's awesome. You have a favorite scripture?
Jeremiah 29.
9:11.
Jeremiah said, always.
Always.
Because he knows the plans that he has for me.
Right.
And I truly believe that they're not to harm me. It's to help me prosper. So whatever he has for me, I just truly believe that it's going to be for the best.
You truly got a story, man. Like, no, seriously, man. You got a story you need to get out there, because I think with the work that I do with the young people down at the juvenile detention center, man, I think a lot of these young kids need to know and understand there is a future, that you don't have to settle for where you are, and don't let your circumstances dictate who you become. And so I think a lot of them do that, but they need to hear you, like, because your story is real. Like, you are real, and what you do is real, and the success that you've had out of using that to become the person that you are, man, it's really inspirational.
I think we have the tools.
Yes.
We just don't think they're tools.
Exactly.
I didn't know that they were tools at the time. I just thought this is just something I need to do with it right now.
Right.
In this moment.
Right.
And and those decisions I made, God still was able to use those to make me better.
Most
to make,
definitely.
to continue to piece me together, trying to make me whole.
And you're that. You're that. Because I'd have seen you. I seen your little flex on Facebook. I seen your little stuff, which is another whole conversation. Because I used way back in the day, man. But I was into that. I was into that bodybuilding, man. That's why I named my son after Dorian Yates. I named him after him, man, because I used to love him and all them dudes. I used to sit there and watch them shows and be like, dude, man, like. And then it dawned on me because you said it. It was like, okay, the professional bodybuilders and then the natural bodybuilders. I'm like,
man,
them two dudes.
That's two whole different beasts right there. That's two whole different
like, they
beasts.
are not the same people.
No.
And so, man, so I commend you, man, for what you're doing, man. And Murfreesboro really has a really good place, man. And F.A.C.E Fitness, man, is a place that I think people are really growing. And I like that it's not just, like you said, it's a home. Like, I found my place. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about what you're doing, man. And we enjoy it. I gotta get Sophie back down there, man. Seriously, not just because of today, but she's like what you said. She's 14.
Okay.
Well, she'll be 15 in a couple more weeks, and man, she has those dreams. You know, she always tell me, "Dad, I'm going to UConn." Yeah, okay. Well, if he ain't looking at you now, yeah, you probably ain't going. But you never know. So she has some dreams, man, and I think what you said is perfect. When I'm doing it, and I never thought about what you said. She don't hear, straighten up this. She hears straighten your room, get this done, get that done. So we've had some battles. Man, we've had some battles on the basketball court, man. And, she's left in tears and I'm almost crying. And I'm like, dude, I can't do this. Like, I want to see you be successful, but not to the detriment of our relationship.
Yes.
So,
and that's regardless of what it took. Like, I had to step out of the way.
Yeah.
And I had to maintain my dad relationship with my daughter at that time because, again, it's just like, she could have done, just completely turned her off to sports altogether.
Could have. One last thing, man, you want to leave with the people.
Work.
That's my favorite word. Work.
Like, whatever your goals are, whether it's business-wise, whether it's your family, whether it's your relationships, whether it's no matter what it is, like, everything that you want to do, everything that you want in life has to be worked on. And that's everything. And I'm constantly learning that myself, from marriage to parenting to bodybuilding to, just staying in shape as an old man. I'm getting up there. I'm one of the older bodybuilders up there.
You're the old head up there.
I'm trying to compete with these young guys, and so I understand, like, it takes work. And when I compete in the other organization against all these guys that are all juiced up, like, it motivates me because I understand, like, I have to do twice as much.
Right.
But I'm going to work. So whatever it is, don't be afraid of work. It's going to take work no matter what your goals are.
That's my favorite word, man. Work.
Got to work.
Got to get that work in. Hey, man, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you having me. I know I was all over the place today. I was all over the place, man. I got a lot in my head.
Man, you do, man. You got to get that out, man. Look, you talking about audio books, man. You need to just tell your story. Just sit back and listen to it, man. But you got a lot of good stuff, though, man. A lot of inspirational stuff, man. I think you can carry a lot of people with what you have because people need that. And just to hear that story, man, is an awesome story. And I know there's more. We just don't have time to get into all of it. We could probably be here till tomorrow, man, just sitting here listening. Because I didn't even get in to have the stuff I wanted to talk to you about. Because your story just, that I wanted to hear. I think that's what people need to hear, too. So, man, thank you for coming. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Once again, it's your boy, Pastor Mike, with the 11th hour, a.k.a. 90s number 5. And I'm so excited about what God is doing on this radio show, man, and in allowing podcasts and allowing people to come through. Remember to hit us up, the nicholasfoundation.org. Check us out. Our scholarships are up and running. So if you got somebody who's looking for some money for college, man, make sure you get on there and check us out. It's your boy, Pastor Mike, aka 90s number 5, and I'm out. Peace.